everybody doing this lovely evening? Hope all is well. As I'm looking around, it seems that I have forgotten my water. So I'm going to have to see if I can get it done without the aqua. But what's up, everybody? How's everybody doing, man? Hope everybody is well. Hope all is well. Hope everyone is having a great night. And welcome. One second. All right, there we go. I thought I had double audio going right there. So if you did hear it, my bad. I don't think you heard it yet. But anyway, once again, welcome to the latest episode of Terrible Towel Tuesday. I am your host, SimFBallCritic, live from the Steel Basement. And we got a few things to talk about, man. Not a whole lot, but I wanted to, try to do something a little different, man. I'm basically going to give my thoughts on things that I've pulled from Teryl Austin's interview, his virtual presser, if you will. A couple things that I want to discuss in regards to that. Not really anything else, man. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything, guys. You're going to see me do some research here in real time, but I didn't really see a lot to talk about. So this was pretty much the things that I grabbed, but I will continue to look at some of my sources to make sure. No, it doesn't look like I missed anything, but y'all know the routine. Before we get started, and why do I have these headphones on already? I don't know. No calls yet, right? Let me take those off. Before we get started, guys, let me put these somewhere. There we go. Always gonna do the introductions and saying the hellos to everyone, so let's do that first and foremost. We got Jason Winningham, Kegels Bagel, Daredevil, Luis D, Y Diggy, JJ Walker, King Kevo, Lanisha Hayes. Hello, Miss Lanisha. How you doing this evening? Jerry McCray, Anthony Nava, Nicholas Mack, J Waller 412, Donovan Hubbard. You heard me podcast. That's my guy right there, man. Good podcast, guys. If you're into some real life stuff, I don't dive too much into it on this format, but if you guys are into some real life, real life topics, even some touchy topics, if you're not too sensitive, I recommend going over there, man, and just listen. My man is just getting himself started with that, so go over there, check him out, man. And like I said, don't allow anything that's being said to offend you. It's just opinions, okay? It's just opinions, and he's far from anyone that you would consider an ignorant person. He definitely knows what he's talking about, so go check him out. But let's read what he said really quick. He says, Steelers going to need a more dynamic defense to deal with them boys down the bank. Some of you guys would know my man Dez is a Ravens fan, and he's absolutely right. We're definitely going to need something. Even though we did a fairly decent job against him last year, man, you can't really rely on that. Last year is last year. You got to move on. I'm sure they're going to have something from us, for us as well as we're going to have something for them. Let's read a few more names, and then we'll keep it moving. Leonard Green, Faki Balboa. I don't know if I said that correctly, and I'm not sure I've seen your name before, so hey, welcome. And he says, man, has anyone told you look like Jay Electronica? That's the first. I've gotten a lot of different people, and if I told you some of the people that I've supposedly look like, and you do the contrast between the different people, I don't know. I don't know how you see this and then see that and then see that and then see that. I don't know. I look like Sim. That's who I look like. Jordan Mid, Joshua Shields, and is there anyone else? Yes, C. Antoine Hill. First and foremost, we always do shout outs to the early viewers, so shout outs to you guys. So, again, what we're going to talk about tonight, man, let me pull up the topics here for you. I'm really just going to give you my breakdown. Not really a breakdown, but just, a couple things that I pulled from Teryl Austin's presser. He basically talked about Antoine Brooks, Cam Sutton, Terrell Edmonds, Minkah Fitzpatrick, and Steven Nelson. So that's where my overall arching topics will come from. We'll hit those in just a moment. A couple side notes to talk about, man. Bad news here, guys, in terms of college football. Kenyon has been texting myself and Tony all day. We always talk offline. You guys know that. And I'm going to report it the same way he reported it to me because I wasn't paying as much attention to it during the day, even though I knew this would happen. Big Ten has pulled the plug on football for this upcoming fall. So the Big Ten has no football plans. The Pac-12 has also announced that they've canceled fall football, and that's per @stadium.com or @stadium on YouTube. But apparently the official notice, official announcement was going to happen at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. We are beyond that. No need for me to double check that. Kenyon lives out in that area. He's out on the West Coast, so I'm sure he knows, what's going on in that football conference. So, his word is bond to me. But there you have it, guys. That's very, 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 very bad. Not only just for college football, but just the landscape of what's going on in the country. We all know what we're dealing with and what we've been dealing with for about 5 months now. The reason why it's bad, man, is a couple things that I'll throw out there. Shout outs to guys like Trevor Lawrence. In case you guys haven't seen, his statement and what he kind of said about, wanting to play and things of that nature, but then also, kind of, looking at it from another standpoint in terms of everyone that's affected, as well as, kind of threw a double standard in his comment as well. But it's like, it's one of those situations where, let's say you are a senior, or hey, maybe you are a junior. Let's speak in relative terms, in terms of the Pittsburgh Steelers. You guys know we like to draft underclassmen. Let's say you're going into your junior year right now, or your junior year eligibility. This does a lot of damage, right, to your draft stock. Because unfortunately, only thing that you can really rely on is whatever tape you already have out there, as well as measurables, as well as projections, right? Well, that's all you got. And it is fair to say in college, you can't judge 1 year versus the next year. You can't look at a guy coming in and let's say he plays as a pure freshman, plays again as a sophomore, and you can't just look at that and say, oh, he got 2 years under his belt and he's this or he's that. No. Guys' projections tend to go up in college. You know what I'm saying? As much as they do in the NFL. We look at rookies and we say, whoa, what are these guys going to be? Again, let's talk about the Steelers. We judge our guys based on what are they going to be in the third year. That's the year. So it's even worse in college. It's definitely, it's a situation where you have to say, yeah, a guy could play much better in his junior year than he may have played in his sophomore year. Some guys who make it to their senior year, that could be their best year. And it does go backwards sometimes. Sometimes you see a guy who had a better junior year versus his senior year. But the point I'm making, what about those guys? They're going to lose a whole year of football, man. And the seniors. The seniors, even though I just made that analogy about the junior year, the seniors got to rely on, hopefully they had a great junior year, right? Or whatever years they've had. Or what if you're the type of guy that you wasn't the number one guy and you were projected to be the number one guy this year in your final season? It's a tough go, man. Again, I understand the landscape that we're in. Safety first. I'm a huge, component of that. It just sucks. That's all you can really say, is it sucks. It's interesting though, because I do believe, excuse me, I don't have my water with me. Matter of fact, hold on 1 second. I think I'm gonna have my young buck bring me some water, man. You gotta stay hydrated when you're talking. Hold on 1 second, guys. Y'all know I do this in real time. I have no shame. I have no shame in that. I let you guys share in my liveness. Watch this. As y'all hear my dog going crazy. That lets me know that my son is probably running the dog. And I told him, don't do that while I'm on the show, because obviously when you have a good microphone such as I do, it picks up everything. All right, so he should be here in just a moment. So I'm sure he's going to want to make a grand entrance. This boy is a trip, man. I can tell he's probably going to be some type of performer, whether it's acting or musical, I don't know, because he loves to be in front of the camera. So don't be surprised if he doesn't run in the camera and wave, or don't be surprised if you don't hear him say, I just want to say hi, or I want to say what's up, or something like that. But anyway, before he comes down, as I can hear him coming, this is huge implications, man. Implications. God, I can't never say that word. It's huge because I really feel like the other conferences and college football in general might take the same route. You know, as they say, the other dominoes are about to fall. You know, we already saw what the SEC was saying, what they were going to do, you know, what they're promoting, you know, basically doing an in-conference type of thing. But, you know, this was before other conferences have decided to, you know, completely give up on the season. And y'all know it's always a copycat league, man. You know, how crazy would it be if you have one conference or a few conferences playing football and then others don't? You know, that doesn't look good for the team. As far as the school, I'm not even going to say team. That doesn't look good for the school because then you're going to have, you know, parents and media and everybody saying, oh, so y'all don't care, but they care. Just a crazy situation. But like I said, safety's got to be first, man. So I definitely understand that. But I just wanted to announce that in case you guys were unaware of that. Also, some other side news really quick. As of right now, James Washington, I believe, is the only one that still remains on the COVID-19 list. Again, I like how the NFL is keeping it, you know, kind of non-disclosed. We don't know if that means that these guys have it or they had it or that they came in contact with somebody that had it and they're simply being quarantined as a precaution. One thing that we do know, though, if you kind of look at the amount of time it seems to be taken, I can't really tell if someone, you know, there's a couple days here and there, but to me, it hasn't been enough for me to say, okay, well, this guy's been X amount of days, that guy's been X amount of days. Maybe he had it, maybe he didn't. I don't know. So I don't know what the determining factor is. I will say this, though, if you just listen to how, you know, most people are handling the whole virus situation, if you test positive, you know, a lot of times, whether you're coming back to work or, you know, other NBA, you know, I say NBA, but other sports, the way they've done it is you have to have 2 consecutive negative tests. So that would make me think, you know, maybe that can give us some insight as to whether some of these players on the Steelers roster had it. But again, like I said, man, you know, they're not really being, you know, disclosing that information. So you can't really tell based off of the number of time. But great. He's the last remaining person on that list. What's his name? Justin Lane came off of that list, I believe, today or yesterday. So good for him. Hopefully he can get back into the fold because, again, man, cornerback is going to be a tricky situation, in my opinion. You know, we are already playing, and again, you can say this about any NFL team, but we are literally playing with just starters. And what I mean by that, look at any of those positions on our defense if one guy goes down. Where do you feel comfortable that someone can fill in? You know what I mean? Cornerback is definitely one of those top priority, as well as free safety, as well as middle linebacker. So there you have it. But all right, man, let's get to the nitty gritty, man, and then I'll open it up for phone calls. Like I told you guys, man, it's going to be fairly quick, you know, fairly in and out type of shows, man, right now, you know, moving right along until we get more to talk about. Let's see. It's the first thing we want to talk about here. So Teryl Austin had his virtual conference, had a lot to say. So what I'm going to do is kind of, you know, not really break down what he said, but, you know, give you the key things that I took away from it and what my thoughts are on each one of those topics. So the first thing that he was pretty much asked was about Antoine Brooks. You know, the reporter basically said, you know, when we drafted him, the Steelers talked about versatility at the safety position and, you know, wanting our guys to be versatile in the secondary, so they're kind of interchangeable. So what was clear, what Teryl Austin said, which, you know, one could definitely imagine this in this situation, he basically said for the young guys, you know, right now, due to the, you know, the way everything is and, you know, the little amount of time that they have together in terms of really putting in game plans and exercising these things in game, like preseason and, you know, things of that nature, he basically said we're only going to allow these guys to really learn one position. It's not going to be, you know, so much focus on interchanging guys or teaching guys multiple positions. because we simply don't have the time to do that, and we think it would serve them much better to learn one position in this current climate. So what does that mean for Antoine Brooks Jr.? Well, it sounds like to me, guys, that he's probably going to be worked out more so as a strong safety, which we know that, right? That's pretty much what he comes in as from college. But I know a lot of us was thinking, maybe he's going to play the dime backer role. Maybe we would see him in dime situations. I'm not so sure about that as I was before. Not saying it couldn't happen, but it definitely seems like they're going to be focusing on one particular area. Now, maybe the area would be the dime backer, right? Could be, but we have some other options. Of course, we want to keep Devin Bush on the field, but, we might look at a guy like UG3. That's going to be that other guy, basically in the nickel, doing your more traditional. I won't even say more traditional, because some teams use, a backer and a safety. Some teams use two backers, if they coverage capable in case there's a run. These guys are bigger guys, more, short tacklers, but also they're able to pass cover. Because a lot of times if you're running nickel and things like that and sub package, you're expecting, to be able to defend both pass and run, right? You're not selling out to one particular thing. So it's interesting. I wonder if we will be looking to do the 3 safety package like we did last year. I would love that. But at the same time, you have to remind yourselves, man, that these guys are young. Some of these guys that we're hoping to play early are very young, and there's no guarantee that these guys are going to be able to touch the field or hit the field as early as we would want them to. And rightfully so. I understand that, and a lot of us seem to think that, oh man, it's just football. Nah. Excuse me. It ain't that simple. It ain't just football. It's a lot that these guys have to learn. A lot of the playbook they have to learn. A lot of in-game situation they have to learn. And communication. It's all of these things, And again, it would seem like it shouldn't be that hard, right? A lot of us, I've even said this before back in the day. I haven't said this in years. But it used to be a time that I thought, man, it's just a playbook. Football. You should be able to play early. But nah, it's just not that simple. And if it was, more people would stay in the league longer than they do. It's not that simple. It's a combination of, you knowing your playbook in and out, you having instincts, you being a smart player, you being the physical player, you being the type of guy that can make play. I mean, it's so many things that you have to incorporate with that. And we'll see. No knock or disrespect to Antoine Brooks Jr. I like the pick. I like the potential that I see from him, but we got to be honest. He wasn't a, highly, touted guy to be drafted. And I hate using this term because I'm the main one who fights against this, but it's a reason for that, right? But I'm the main one who also counters my own point there, and I said draft picks really don't matter as far as position. Not always. Because every now and then you'll find a diamond in the rough, in the 5th round, 4th round, 6th round, which we all know there's stories of 6th round guys that's been outstanding in the NFL. But there you have it. So yeah, I expect to see Antoine Brooks Jr. primarily working as strong safety. We'll see. If anything changes from that, I'll be, happy about it. Of course, practice and play will, dictate how much he's able to play. Cam Sutton. Teryl Austin here, and the guys always say, forgive me if you see me look away from the cameras, just only because I'm reading. So I always want to let you guys know what I'm looking at. Cam Sutton, man, will see more playing time. That was made very clear by Teryl Austin. He different from what we heard from Antoine Brooks Jr., right? About him, he did say that Sutton is very versatile, very smart, can play multiple positions, and he went as far as saying that he will see more playing time. So we can expect to see Cam Sutton more and more, on the field. And I'm wondering if we're going to see more Cam Sutton on the outside in certain situations. I think primarily we'll use him. I'd like to see us use him more as a nickel when we really think the passing is coming, which we know we kind of really, we've been doing that with him. But what I'm basically saying is I want to see Cam Sutton in the game when there's more situations where we are anticipating pass. Because I think not to take anything away from Mike Hilton, I think he's shown to be a better pass coverage guy. He's a better pass defender, in my opinion, than a Mike Hilton. Mike Hilton is not horrible. He does fairly well underneath, in man coverage. But I will say overall that Cam Sutton is probably a better candidate for that, right? But I love Mike Hilton's tackling. I love his blitzing off the edge. I love his grit. So it's not like I'm trying to, let's just throw him away or anything like that. But I listen to everything coaches say, man, because I think what they say is very telling. The fact that he is basically coming out and saying, oh, he's going to see more playing time, it lets me know two things. One, they like him in more pass situations. Clearly, we saw him being used and utilized more than Mike Hilton last year in those situations. But also, number two, we might be looking at the next cornerback on the outside for our team and or the next nickel corner on our team full time. Because remember, the situation that Hilton is in, having a tender on him and all of that, doesn't seem like the Steelers are going to get a deal done with him, especially with the cap situation that we're probably going to be in going into next season, depending on where the numbers come out at. But clearly it seems like Cam Sutton is being groomed, to take over that spot. He is in his last year of his rookie contract, but, maybe you feel like you can get a better deal for him. I don't know, but it just seems that way to me. So that to me is very telling, but we'll see. And again, that's no slight against Mike Hilton. Moving right along, this was funny. He talked about Terrell Edmonds, right? And he basically said they need to find ways for him to get the ball. Find ways for him to become more of a turnover guy. For him to get more interceptions or, fumble recoveries, et cetera, et cetera. He pretty much spelled that out. And he went as far as basically admitting that, ball skills isn't his strong suit. Because he even said that, and he knows this as well. That's what he said. We know, and he knows this as well. And then he went on to say he's got to get his hands on more balls. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So all the stuff that we say and all of the stuff that you guys say that don't like Terrell Edmonds, the coaching staff knows that. They know he's not a ball skill type of guy. I'm not a ball hawk type of guy. But like I said, you got Minkah for that. And it's rare that a team has both safeties that are able to do that. Think about it. It's rare that you get that great combination where both guys, are super playmakers or they're both ball skill type of guys. You don't always get that. And when we had one of the best playmaking strong safeties ever, when he was playing for us, look at who his partner was. Ryan Clark. And are you guys going to tell me that Ryan Clark was an excellent center fielder as far as pass coverage? I wouldn't say so. But Ryan Clark was strong against the run. Ryan Clark was definitely able to keep the lid on it a lot of times with the run game. Making tackles, and not only just making tackles, big tackles, laying guys out. He was a thumper, right? But ball skill, no, that wasn't pretty much his strong suit. So we're in the same situation. Now, yes, Edmunds has to show improve, man, because again, that could be another sign. And I mean, these are obvious things, but you have to kind of try to connect the dots a little bit. Edmunds is going to have to step it up because, again, you mess around and let Brooks Jr., get significant reps or significant training at strong safety, and he's showing some pop. He's showing some things. What happens come next year? Then you got a decision to make. You know what I'm saying? As far as if you want to extend a contract or what have you, or if you want to offer a fifth year option and all of that. So, and I believe, and I think I asked this question before, and I'll check the chat really quick to make sure. I believe I asked you guys this before, and I always forget. Edmunds is going into his third year, right? Going into his third year, I believe. So if that's the case, yes, you would have to make a decision next year on whether you want to extend the fifth year option. So I would go as far as saying too, man, that yeah, this is Edmunds. This is big for Edmunds. Big year, buddy. Big year. This is gonna determine whether you make or break the team as far as long term. So, but yeah, I just thought that was funny, man. If you really listen to what Teryl Austin was saying, is they know that Edmunds is not, the ball skills is just really not his strong suit. So there you have it. What else did they talk about that I want to bring to you guys really quick? Two more things, and then we'll get to the phone queue. They talked about Minkah Fitzpatrick on the move, man. I mean, we heard this early in the offseason, and now you're hearing it from basically the defensive assistant, which, we know that he primarily works with the secondary. There you have it. They basically said, to sum up what he was saying was, look, we got him last year during the season. Things developed pretty well. But in so many words, he's saying it's nothing like, having a home and being able to be with these guys and having a full offseason. Well, quote unquote full offseason, dealing with today's climate. But you know what I'm saying? Having a year under your belt, really knowing the system, and now we'll be able to move him around. He made that very clear that we definitely will be moving, Minkah Fitzpatrick around. Now, here's the funny thing. One of the reporters, and I think it was Mike Pursuta from Steelers Depot, Steelers.com, or one of them stations, but he's always on Steelers.com with Bob Labriola and those guys. But he basically said, so they kind of asked the question, I think it was him, it might have been one of the other reporters, but they kind of asked, if you're going to move Minkah around, you're going to get in a situation where you have Edmunds, is who they pointed out, deep. And in so many words, the reporter was like, how is this going to work? Because, obviously, Minkah Fitzpatrick is but we all know that's the guy that you want to have deep, right? So Austin basically said, and verbatim said, well, listen, when it's a situation like that, it's not a good situation for us. He basically said it's not ideal for us to have Edmunds as the deep safety. And I was like, wow. Yo, that is crazy. So again, guys, like I said, for all of us who criticize the coaching staff and all that, why do they know too, but at the end of the day, I know what the argument is going to be. Some people will say, well, why don't you fix that? Well, how do you propose they do it? How do you propose they do it? Were they going to draft a strong safety in the second round this year? And if they was, who was that guy? And was he going to start? You see what I'm saying? Were they going to go get the top-notch strong safety, whoever that may have been, that was available in free agency? No. You don't always get what you want. This is the price of, the way football works with caps and with draft. You have to invest in your draft picks. 1 second, guys. Thank you, buddy. Just throw your hand in there. That's good enough. All right, see you later. I told y'all he would want to get in the camera. But yeah, I mean, you have to invest. You have to invest in your draft picks. And if they don't work, then you start over. That's just how it goes. So I get everyone's opinion and your complaint about Terrell Edmonds, but guys, this is what we got. All you can do is hope he gets better, hope he turns the corner and starts to be more of a force on defense. And if he isn't, then, we're starting over. But there's nothing that they can do about it right now. Because who's behind him? This comes full circle. We talked about the Riley kid that we picked up. Now, if he makes it, if he makes the team, and they said that he has, more versatility in terms of being able to play deep. Remember what I said on that show? You might see situations where it's him and Minkah. And then you have Riley basically, playing the back end if you want to move Minkah around and throw a different look out there. So maybe that's why they acquired him. And like I said, it's not to say it's signed, sealed, and delivered that he's going to be the third safety. You would think so because he's a veteran. But again, Steelers might have a trick up their sleeve. Understanding that, Terrell Edmonds is not mainly the guy that you want, playing that deep middle of the field. So, we shall see, man. We shall see. So the last thing I got for you guys, man, and then I'll get to the calls. Where's my notes? Steve Nelson. I talked about Steve Nelson playing with a chip on his shoulder. I also didn't get a chance to listen to his press conference. I plan to do so, maybe later tonight. But they basically, talked about how he feels underrated, and that's why he plays with a chip on his shoulder, but he's consistent. He comes to work every day with the same demeanor, approaches every game with the same demeanor. Austin said he works really hard. And I have to say this, when he came from Kansas City, we all said the same thing for the most part. This guy makes some good plays, and he gives up some big plays. And that was the concern, right? When he became our primary, I guess he probably turned into our primary corner last year over Joe Hayden. But is like I said before, you can get better in the league. I think it's a plateau. I think when you come into the NFL, you're probably going to be at your best by X amount of years, and then you probably that's where you're going to be, and then you just stay consistent. But I think Steven Nelson was still young enough he could still be, improving and getting better. And we got to take a look at how he was utilized in Kansas City. I mean, this guy was in man coverage most of the time and got thrown at. The year before we picked him up, he had got thrown at more than any other corner. So when you have that type of percentage going against you, there's going to be some negative plays as well. And again, a lot of people think that this doesn't matter, but scheme. Maybe the way we run in our defense works to his strength. But however you want to, slice and dice it, the boy only gave up a touchdown last year. According to PFF. One touchdown. And we did see him give up, the big play to Odell Beckham. It happens. It's Odell Beckham. You understand what I'm saying? But again, even when he got beat, he wasn't beat senseless. And to me, that's all I need to see out of a cornerback. Let me see that you're competing. I just want to see that you're in competition with this guy. Make it more of a combative catch, or make it a tight throw or something like that. Don't get beat silly. And it happens. It even happens to the best of them. Good receivers are going to get good corners, just like the corner is going to get them. It happens. Dion got burnt before, right? It happens. But your consistency is what I look at. And how you got beat is what I look at. So even on that play, Nelson was there. It's just that, Odell got him off the line pretty much. And it is what it is. But again, that guy played very solid last year. Think about it. All of the games that we had, how many times did you hear his name? Ball caught on him, or he gave up a big play? Not really. And what's crazy about that, because Joe Hayden was being targeted more, Joe Hayden balled out with being targeted more. So I was very proud of what the cornerbacks did last year, man. But again, not telling you guys anything you don't know about Nelson, but the reason why I pulled that out, man, is it's just good to hear Austin say what he said about him. And to me, if you look at the season he had, it matches everything that Austin said. Definitely looks like that dude was on his details, came with the same demeanor every game. He wasn't rah-rah or anything like that. And he played very, very solid for us as a cornerback. We got to give it up for him. So that's it, guys. And that took, 34 minutes. But like I said, man, I figured I'd do something different tonight, man. It wasn't any groundbreaking news to talk about. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take one of these interviews and kind of just give my thoughts on what was said and share that with you guys, and, in case you didn't see it. So that's it. Now let's see what we have. Do we have anybody in the phone queue? Right now, there is only one call in the queue, so we will grab that. It is area code 803. Let me turn this music down in my ear, and I'll allow you guys to still hear it on your end. There we go. But I know some of you guys asked for it. I can't remember who it was, but somebody asked for me to bring the background music back. So there you have it. I think it was, I want to say it was Builder's Life might have said that. But there you have it. But anyway, guys, if you want to call in, man, we still got some time left on the show. Phone number is right there on the screen. If you can't see it, I'll read it to you. 619-924-0818. And hopefully, Blog Talk Radio is being nice to us, because sometimes the caller can't hear me on the phone. But let's see. Area code 803. How's it going tonight? Good, man. How you doing? Yes, sir, man. Thank you for calling like you always do. I appreciate that. I'll be quick, and my responses, yes, man. If they play football in the spring, that could be crazy. I mean, what does that do for the draft? I mean, how long a season? You know, it's a lot of things to think about there, man. And it's almost like the same thing that I've been thinking about even with these NBA players. You know, these teams that are in the playoffs. You know, by the time they get done, I mean, before you blink, boom, it's already October. You know, do they just pick up and start rolling from there? And look what would happen in the same situation with the spring. You know, you try to play a full season. I don't know if that would mean full season, or would they try to do like what, you know, the SEC is claiming they're going to do with just playing in conference. And a lot of questions, man. And if you do that, how does it affect? Oh, hold on. Y'all say y'all can't hear me? Hold on. Oh, y'all can't hear him. My bad, man. I told y'all, man. Listen, I need an assistant. My bad, man. I got the browser cut off. And you guys couldn't hear it. My bad. I meant to cut it on. But let me recap what he said. So 651, I know you in the queue. Forgive me, but let me recap what my man 803 said. And I'm going to try to do it to a T. He basically talked about spring football, right? He says if the colleges are to play in the spring, which I hadn't, I haven't really stayed up on that as far as what they're planning. But I did semi hear that, maybe they would play in the spring. So he basically said, what type of effect will that have on the rookies coming in and the draft and things of that nature? You know what I mean? Like, just imagine that if they try to play college football in the spring and then try to keep everything as normal. How is that going to work? He then asked about Curtis Riley. He asked me if I knew any information on him. He wasn't sure if I had mentioned him in a prior week. I did mention him, but to be honest, 803, my assessment is the same as yours. I don't know much about him. I took a quick look at a few of his highlights. I found a couple of highlight videos. And I went and I did, try to find some scouting reports on him. And I have heard that, around the league, as far as some of the reports and things that I was able to find, that they do say that he's more ball skill capable and more capable of playing, deep, being like we all know how cover 2 works, being one of those guys that's playing over the top, right? More so than a Terrell Edmonds. So what I said last week about him was, are we going to see situations where he is our primary third safety? And when we prefer to have covered safeties, will you see a situation where it's Minkah and Riley? And you try to, kind of get Edmunds off the field a little bit, or move Edmunds down to the box, and we play 3 safeties. I don't know. But I don't know much about him. I really don't know anything about him. I would have to scout him. And, I could do that. If you guys want to do that, maybe, if Game Pass still works, I think it does, maybe we could watch some film live on him, and we'll see what we think about him. The last thing he said, guys, was he's really, really hoping that we don't lose David DeCastro, at any time soon, with him being pretty much our best offensive lineman. I agree with you there. I'm going to be realistic and say the way DeCastro plays, I mean, he's more than 30 now, I think, or he might be right at 30. I'm not 100% sure of his age, but how much longer is he going to play? How much longer will he want to play? And how much longer can he play the way he plays? I don't think we'll lose him, though. I have a feeling that DeCastro seems like the type of guy that will start with the team and retire with the same team. Maybe even give like a home team discount. You know what I mean? Like, he seems like that kind of guy. He's made some money. And if it's all about just sticking it out with the Steelers and retiring, I think they'll probably be able to find a situation where, he can be paid, what he's comfortable with, and also the Steelers could get a deal done that they're comfortable with. So, sorry about that, guys, man. I'm sorry that you didn't hear the caller. That's operator error. I promise y'all I will get better with that. See, when you get new toys, you can't always, fulfill the quality because you don't know what you're doing. But I told you guys I got this software now, man, with the mic that I got, that is like a virtual mixer. And I cut off the browser so you guys are not hearing things in case I pull things up or what have you, but I forget to cut it back on when the callers come on. And the reason why that's important is because Blog Talk Radio obviously is a web-based service. So forgive me, but I have it on now, so you should definitely hear the next caller. Let me bring him up here. Area code 651. What you got for us tonight?
What's going on, Sam?
Nothing much, man. What's going on?
Yeah, so I was thinking about Sutton, and I think a lot of either him or Hilton's career in Pittsburgh depends on how Hayden looks at the end of this season. If he slows down and it's noticeable, I think they're going to move on, and Sutton will be on the outside. And in that way, we'll probably still have to hold on to Hilton, because I don't know what lane, because Sutton can fit anywhere. He can go to free safety, but we got Minkah there, so he can go to slot, outside. He can play anywhere. So I just think they probably give him a shot before Lane at this point, being that there's no preseason. The other thing, we were talking about Edmunds. Man, we all know he's got the perfect skill set as far as athleticism. Let me say that. Athleticism for the safety position. He just don't have the mind yet. And I feel like him playing beside Minkah is going to help a lot. This offseason is crucial for him in both ways, being that it's his third year, and the fact that you got Minkah beside you now, somebody that's young that can kind of relate more to you and know the game better. So I think that'll be a big thing for him. And also, I noticed something that Shannon Sharp shared today about Bud Dupree's agent. He was really talking about Dak, but they share the same agent. And every person that he represented that was on a franchise tag, nobody signed a long-term deal this year. So it makes more sense why they signed Highsmith so much higher, because I think they're realizing we're not going to be able to sign him. So that was one thing I kind of read into that. And Brooks Jr. One thing I noticed on his tape was that he's real nasty around line of scrimmage. I mean, he can decipher things pretty quick. He moves well in that traffic. And I think that Ravens game, if we can find a way to get them in the game plan, that's going to be crucial with the misdirection and all the things they do. So I think he'll be good with that. And the last thing, too, is on the college football tip that you were just talking about. It's like they're forming a mini union. And I think college football is trying to push them back because the biggest players are not going to play in the spring. They're not going to risk their future in the spring. So now the union gets weaker. Because if they keep going the way they're going to form something serious, and they're going to be forced to have to pay them something. So I think they're really dropping out of the school is dropping out of it now, just to try to wait until those big players are gone, like Trevor Lawrence and those fellas. So, but that's all I got, man. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Thank you for the call. Great stuff right there, man. I'm gonna comment on all of that. Great stuff. And guys, just to throw him a quick bone for 803 as well, but even what 651 did here, got a lot of points out and didn't really take that long. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't that long of a call, so take notes. That was good. So let's address what he talked about, man. He said Sutton could possibly replace Hayden, and I agree with him 100%. Hayden's play is going to determine what happens with Sutton, because you are absolutely right. At this point, even if you just look at where they are on the depth chart or you look at experience, Sutton is clearly ranked higher on the depth chart than Justin Lane. Justin Lane is a project. He's not going to get the real opportunity this year. At least we don't think so. No preseason. Sutton has playing time under his belt and has done decent when he's played even on the outside. So you're absolutely right there. And if that happens, do you look at potentially finding somebody in the draft? Potentially trying to work out a deal with Hilton, which is going to cost you a little bit if Hilton continues to be what he has been, even with his, run-stop capability and his blitzing. Is it a guy like Trajan Bandy that maybe you sneak him on the practice squad? Is that a guy, what I'm saying? It's going to be interesting. If Hayden's performance dips because of Father Time, boom. That would be interesting. He also said Shannon Sharp has the same agent as Bud Dupree, and that is a very interesting fact right there. That the agent said none of the players that he represents that are on franchise tags, and I'm not 100%, I'm not 100% sure if you meant just this year or if you also just meant in general. But the fact is that free agent guys that are on the tag don't sign long-term deals. So yes, that's probably going to be the case with Bud Dupree. I doubt if we get anything done before this season starts. And again, we know the cap situation that the Steelers seem to be approaching again, even though that, that max number hasn't been set yet. Based on what some people are projecting, the Steelers could be pretty much in the same situation, having to do restructures and things like that. But I don't think you get a deal done with Bud Dupree, especially if he plays closer or anywhere around the level that he played till last year. He's probably going to go find big money somewhere else because, TJ Watt is going to be the priority when his time is up. And you would hope a guy like Highsmith could be that guy that could be on the cheap contract for a while, alongside TJ Watt. And when you think about it as a business thing, guys, listen. It's great when a team can have multiple pass rushes. But that is diamond in the rough material, man. When you have two outside guys, two edges that are like really, really a force. It don't happen that often. So what I'm saying is the Steelers might end up being comfortable with just saying, look, man, we're going to just put TJ out there and put Highsmith out there with him in year 2 of Highsmith's career, and we'll let Bud Dupree walk because of the money. That could very well happen. So you got to look at the business side of things too. You got a beast on one side. You just need a guy on the other side that's decent, that will probably get more of the one-on-ones and less chips and things like that. See what I'm saying? What else did my man talk about? He said Brooks Jr. is good at the line of scrimmage. Yes, I noticed that too. I didn't focus so much on how good he is at the line of scrimmage, but what I did notice is he does have the instincts. He does, recognize things fairly well. He attacks. He's like a little missile. He can tackle. You made a great point. You might need a guy like that, an extra guy like that on the field against a Ravens team when the Ravens could hit you from multiple, directions, literally, with misdirections and read option and, things like that. Lamar Jackson doesn't, design runs and, we might throw out a dynamic defense out there on him. Where you'll have a guy like Brooks lurking the line of scrimmage, and you might have Hilton on the other side. It's a couple things that we might want to throw at teams like that. So that's a good point. But the only thing we have to think about, man, is that, Brooks is still a young kid. Maybe you could work out some situations where that's all he does. A couple little plays, a couple packages for him where he knows what his responsibility primarily is when he goes in there. Look, just go do that. That's possible. But we'll see. But I like where where your head is on that. And then the last thing he said was college football forming a mini union. Yeah, man, keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on that. And I won't go too far into it here tonight, man, but this whole thing could end up exploding the NCAA in the way that they have currently done business, and from fairness to the players and players being paid. All of this stuff could blow up in their face because you have a real crazy situation right now where literally right now you have two conferences that are known, big conferences pretty much, that have relatively big schools in them. It's not the SEC, but still, you got these conferences that have already said we ain't playing. We done for the fall. A lot of money off the table. But you can literally do that and have these other conferences still play. How crazy is that? There's no one governing body. It's keep an eye on it, man. Keep an eye on that. This situation could spark some real change in the way the NCAA is constructed. I hope it does. But all right, man, let me read my man's comment here. See Antoine Hill, and thank you for the donation, my brother. He says 21 and 22 combined draft. Interesting. Now, are you saying my thoughts on it, or is that something that has already been thrown out there as a possibility? I think you're saying, what do I think about that? So I'll give you my thoughts really quick. I wouldn't be opposed to that, but how you do it? And what I mean by that is, does that mean literally doubling the rounds? Like literally. So you basically would have 14 rounds, and you basically take what you would have in 21, as far as each team, what picks they have in 21, and then same picks, they come together for 22, and then you have, what I'm saying? Like, do you do it like that? Do you have double the rounds, or do you just say, well, look, we're going to still do 7 rounds, but you're going to get your multiple picks. So maybe you do something like that. And what I mean by that, guys, is maybe you say 7 rounds, and let's say, I don't want to pick on any team, but let's just say the Washington football team. That's still funny to me. Let's say the Washington football team acquires the number 1 pick, right, for 21. And in 22, they have the number 4 pick, right? But then also you have another team like, I don't know, the Jets or somebody also has the number 1 pick. And no. Let's say the Jets or somebody also has the number 4 pick in 22. So what you basically, I guess what you would do is you would say, whoever has the first round pick in 21, they pick and the other team picks. They both pick, and then you do it like that. I don't know. And some people might say, oh, that sounds crazy, but, well, if you have the same players, if you still have that huge pool of players, because you'll have the 21 class and the 22 class, it might work. Now, there could be some situations where people would say, oh, well, that's not fair, because some teams would definitely be picking early. But again, like I said, and what if the Steelers won the Super Bowl next year or this coming season, right? And then let's say we finished the worst we've ever had for the next season. So then in those two drafts that are combined, we'll have a 32-second pick, and then we'll have a first pick. I don't know. I don't know how you could do it, man. I just think it would be a little crazy. So yeah, I guess you either would do it like that or you would have 14 rounds. I don't know. Don't know how you would do it. Because again, maybe they would just have the 14 rounds and it just starts over. So maybe after the first 7, they do another draft and they go 1 through 7 again. Maybe something like that. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, to me, if you have to, if spring football happens and that's what you have to resort to, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. You know, it gives everybody a fair shot. But all right, guys, I'm going to get in the comments, man, for the last 5 minutes of the show here. Let me start with my man, Darren Dalton. He says, what's up, guys? I know I've been MIA. I've been busy and getting ready for my second son to be born any day now. Let's take a time out and give you a round of applause, even though I don't think it's going to work. Because I didn't reconnect my round of applause. So y'all let me know if y'all can hear that or not. I don't know if y'all can hear that. If you can, great. Hope you guys hear it. If not, let's do a manual one there. But round of applause to my man Darren Dalton, man, for his second son being born. That's a blessing, man. That is a blessing. So a round of applause and congrats to you and yours. The second part of your comment, he says, showing some quick love and dropping a like. Stay safe and stay healthy, y'all. Thank you, man. And that applies to all of us. All of us, stay safe, stay healthy. But congrats on the boy, on the new boy coming there, man. Jordan Mid says, yes, sir, South Carolina, we winning the SEC this year. Okay. I don't know, man. You got to remember, y'all only playing in the conference if that continues to play out. So them odds ain't looking that good. JJ Walker says, thoughts on why Cam Hayward deal is taking this long? Yeah, I got my eyebrow raised at it, but I'm not overly concerned. You know, it could just be a situation where everybody knows what's happening right now, and maybe they've already talked to Cam, and it's kind of a wink type of deal. Like, look, we'll get it done before the season kicks off. I don't know. But I would expect a contract extension of some sort with Cam for the mere fact that it's a better time to do it now. You're going to need that money at some point anyway. But I'm not overly concerned yet. And Lanisha is giving congratulations to Darren as well there. Let's see who else we got up in here. Look at here. What we got? Jason Winningham. That was our phone caller, guys. 803 says, what they should do the draft. What they should do is draft in the normal order and then flip the picks for the next round. So we pick 32nd, then we should get a 33rd pick in the next round. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I'm sure there could be some creative ways for them to do it, man. I'm pretty sure if they did it that way, you know, I think the most important thing, you know, I think that we all would probably agree on is, yeah, I would agree with that. Because, you know, you just wouldn't want a situation where you're rolling it. You know, if these kids got to play in the spring, it just would be crazy to have to, you know, try to find a way to. I mean, I guess you probably could find a way to still do the draft in 2021 after the would-be season. You know what I'm saying? I guess there's probably ways that you could still just keep it on schedule somewhat. Maybe delay it. Maybe you have the draft in June or something like that. I don't know, but yeah. I don't know. It'll be crazy. Why Diggy says the coach's job is to put their players in the best position to excel. If they know where Edmunds is best suited to play close to the line and not play deep, then that's what they need to put Edmunds. That's where they need to put Edmunds. Okay, I agree with you 100%, Why Diggy, but here's my question. Who else is there to play deep with Minkah when we do those type of coverages where you have, you know, 2 safeties deep, or you have a cover 4, like a match coverage or quarters or something like that, and you're going to get a potential where everyone, you know, playing those sides or fourths of the field or what have you is caught in a vertical situation. What do? You see what I'm saying? So I agree with that, unless you're saying, you get more creative and you bring Cam Sutton in more to play. It's a lot of questions. So in theory, I agree with you guys 100%. For any one of you guys like Why Diggy that say that, but what do you do primarily? You see what I'm saying? Like it's hard to always guess right, to always have the right personnel out there. So if Terrell Edmonds is going to be the starter as a strong safety, and we're saying we're only going to keep him around the box, then we're openly admitting that someone else needs to take his place in base situations. Because you can't just keep him around the box in base defense whenever we do play base, which we still do, but we play a lot of sub. But you can't just keep him at the box. You got to have defenses where you got 2 safeties deep. So, again, maybe we're looking at a situation where we do the 3 safety look, and maybe we will do that. So, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying our ideas sound great until we have to really draw that out and see what it looks like. You know what I mean? J Drop says they want to see how the cap is gonna work. Probably also with Watt, Juju, and Connor coming up. Yeah, we got some real situations to deal with, man. As far as contracts at the end of the season, like especially imagine if Juju balls out, Connor balls out. One of them dudes, they ain't gonna be able to keep them both. So one of them gonna be gone. It's gonna be very interesting. As do I, Jared McCray. He says, I hope Tua can stay healthy. Yes, Lord. All right, I'm going to read a couple more, man, because I'm already a minute or so over my time. Jesse George says they should just let us sign Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields as a free agent since they probably won't play this year anyway in college. Right. Laugh out loud. Yeah, that would be crazy. Kenya says Ryan allowed Troy to be moved around, which is the same thing Minkah will do. Remember that. Yep. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And like he says there, guys, in case you're not familiar with what he's referencing, he's talking about Ryan Clark. We all know, we heard the stories where Ryan Clark would say sometimes Troy would literally come out and say, I'm playing deep. Like, you play up close, I'm going to play deep. This is the strong safety talking. But Troy was just that type of animal, man. He was, very instinctive. Like even LeBeau used to say some of those things he would just do. He would change his coverage because he felt something. That's a one in a million, one in a lifetime type of guy. So, yeah, it would be interesting, man, if obviously we're going to see some of that. Because remember, again, how I started off the show. Teryl Austin is already saying Minkah is going, he's going to be moving around. So expect to see Minkah some around the box like we saw him last year. Which again, there's that question again. Goes along with what Diggy said. Are we going to say, don't do that with Minkah because we know Edmunds is? You see what I'm saying? It's all questions, great questions, and great things that we all can sit here and debate. And that's why I think you might see Riley play a little more in packages where we got Minkah lurking around a line of scrimmage or playing up close. Only because, he's, reportedly he's a better option and has the ability to play deep. So this is going to be very interesting. The last one of the night, man. Louis D says it's early, but at the number 2 receiver, which one do you think helps Juju to put up better numbers, James or Deontay? I kind of spoke on this last week, and I'm going to stick to what I said last week. I think Deontay. And this is no slight to James Washington. I think James Washington has his place. But I definitely like the idea of Juju and Deontay Johnson on the outside, when we're in sets where it's just 2 receivers. I think I like that. I like Deontay Johnson more as an X. He can take that responsibility. I think definitely in his second year because he's the type of guy that can, beat guys off the line. He can shake guys really quick, get that separation. That's what you want. James Washington, not so much, and not to say that he would never be able to do it, but we see how we utilize James. So if you have them two in a 2 receiver set, if I'm the defensive coordinator, I'm like, all right, well, I know how I'm playing that. I'm getting right up on him. Juju ain't known for being a killer route runner. So whenever I see that look, get up on them. Even if we not running man, make it tough. Fight, make them fight off the line. Disrupt that timing. Because I don't believe these 2 guys are the guys that are better than us off the line. That's just me. If I'm a D coordinator. Now, if James or Juju was able to do it, then we got beat. If I'm the D coordinator for another team. But that's what I would do. Those dudes don't scare me. Those dudes don't make me think, they can get separation. They can beat press off the line. Nah. Deontay has shown that he's a better route runner. He has crafty ways to get separation on and off the line and in space. Crisp route runner, like I already said. That's the guy that I'm more concerned with in a one-on-one. With that being said, if he's opposite Juju, he gives Juju a better chance of getting a one-on-one situation that he might be able to, beat. Coverage probably won't be drawn to Juju no more. Perhaps, but you got to remember, Juju having a down year last year might have benefited him come this year. Because now I don't think he gets that attention. So, just my thoughts. Not saying it's right or wrong, just my thoughts. And yeah, let's not forget Claypool. But again, guys, let's not go crazy with Claypool early, man. This is going to be a slow grind. And we would love for him to go out there and tear the roof off early. We heard Ike Hilliard. Well, maybe some of you guys didn't. But Ike Hilliard said, look, one thing that he has that you can't deny is 6'4", 200 plus pounds and runs of sub 440. That's something that right off the bat is something we want to utilize. So there is another element there. But we'll see. But all right, man, I'm going to get up out of you guys' hair, man. Great show tonight. I didn't expect it to go this long. I say that every week, but every time we sit down and start talking, man, y'all bring it out of me. So there you have it. But of course, guys, if you haven't already, I need you guys to do these 3 things. Very simple. Subscribe. Turn on your notifications so you know when streams are available. Hit the like button. That's easy. That don't require anything. Don't cost you nothing. But speaking of costing you something, thank you for all of you who have donated this past week. You know who you are. Some of you did it PayPal. Some of you guys went Cash App. I definitely appreciate you guys. I can't say that enough. Really appreciate that, man. And you, like I said, you know who you are. And that information is in the description for anybody who wants to do so. As well, just like my man C. Antoine Hill did tonight, you can always do that during the show via YouTube. $sign down in the bottom left or right corner. I can't remember which side it's on, but you guys see it. And you can have at it that way. All right, so I thank you guys for that, for those who did. And I thank you in advance for those who will. Outside of that, man, I hope everyone has a great night. Please, please, please stay healthy. Stay healthy. I hate to have to report this, but cousins of mine who actually live in Virginia, both her and her husband have COVID-19. They have a young daughter that, doesn't have the strongest immune system. The last report I got is she currently has a cold, but the doctor has advised them to keep an eye on her. But I say that just to let y'all know it's real, man. It's real. Regardless of how it got here, regardless of if some people think it was, created, whether it was a hoax, whether it was an accident that snuck out of a lab, whether it's a conspiracy, it doesn't matter. What matters now is it's out there. And I prefer not to, come in contact with it if I don't have to. Especially not my family, being my wife and my kid. So be safe, man. Protect yourselves. If the day comes where we have to wear masks as a mandate, just do it. It don't hurt nothing, man. You in and out. Wherever you going, you in and out, or whatever. Just, it ain't that serious. And even if you don't believe in that, do it for others. Because believe it or not, it lifts people's spirit, man. You know what I mean? Like, quick story. I went to the pet store not too long ago. Had to get some more fish for my tank. I got a saltwater tank, man, so I'm always in the pet store getting snails or something. They help clean the glass. And, you know, the lady kind of talked to me and my wife saying, thank you for wearing your mask because, you know, you wouldn't believe how many people come in here without it. And, you know, we got our sign saying we required. And she literally said, if not anything else, it's one less thing that we have to worry about. I have to be down about when I see somebody like that. And I was like, you know what? That's what I'm saying. Maybe you don't believe it works or whatever, but you might be helping somebody else feel better by just doing it. So just do it. It don't hurt nothing. Just my thoughts. Y'all know I gotta always throw some life in the conversation when we come on. But that's it. I'm out. Everybody be safe. Stay healthy, but still enjoy yourself. Still keep a smile on your face, man. This will pass. You know, we'll get through it. We'll get through it. We just gotta play our part. So everybody have a great night. Have a good rest of the week. God bless. And thanks for coming through and tuning in to Terrible Towel Tuesday. Peace.